I introduced you, I'm gonna say this is a friend of mine. That means you're a connected guy. Now, if I said instead, this is a friend of ours, that would mean you a main guy. Capiche?
I've called your last two fights with Koga,
Oh
but
yeah.
looking at your record,
Mhm.
and I watch you fight. I like watching you fight. You are a wild man in that cage.
Yeah, I don't know. I try not to be, we really try to keep it technical, but yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it comes out like that, you know what I mean?
Once you get punched in the face, whatever happens, happens.
Exactly, exactly. Like
Uh,
yeah, my coaches are really trying to keep us out of the fight. Like I don't know if you remember the last one with Ben. Like a few times he was trying to goad me into it, He wanted me to scrap with him. And part of me was like, oh, we could just do it. But then I heard my coach on the side being like, don't get emotional, don't get emotional. So
nice.
we try to keep it as composed as we can.
Speaking of coaches, I don't know if you've listened to our past fights, but Ed Herman and I
Mhm.
love your gym. Like when we get our call sheets and we see the fights, we see someone that comes out of DS Combat Sports, and a handful of you guys, some of them, it was like Charlotte Champagne.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
I don't know if it was her first fight, but it was her first fight with us. And
Yeah, yeah.
so
First MMA fight. Yeah.
just so like, and as so like when that name comes up,
Hmm.
all of you guys love fighting, and all of you guys win or lose, it's never a one-sided thing. So when we see Diaz, we're like, oh, here we go. I don't even know the name, but there's about to be a fight. What
Yeah,
is the
no, no. We
atmosphere?
we
What is it
watched
like?
them back.
What
Yeah,
is it?
we
What is the atmosphere and what's your gym like up in Canada?
it's good, man. It's a really strong team. It's not a huge team by any means, so we're pretty close, tight-knit group. And everybody who joins the team, like the only thing we ask, like we don't really care if you're talented or not, or obviously that helps, but we just want to see people who show up every day and are willing to grind. So the people who can survive that process are the ones who are like really down, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
maybe they're not the most athletic, maybe they don't come from martial arts backgrounds, but if you show up every single day and you work hard and you're willing to, take hits and keep coming and then you're part of the team. You know what I mean? That's all we're really looking for. So that creates
Well,
kind of a hard-nosed atmosphere. Yeah.
Ed and I talk about the traveling, and like you guys travel. I mean, it's not like you're going to Southern California, but you guys travel down from Canada,
Mhm.
and we kind of equate it to when a band goes on tour and they're in that band and they're on the road and they're doing their thing. What is that like for you and the team when, and I know we usually try and do like one or two or three, how many guys you can on a card together, but then you guys are in training camp together, you're traveling together. Does that
Yeah,
help
yeah.
build the strength of the team?
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely. Yeah. And it's awesome to like do a camp with other people, like cause camp is hard, dieting and hard training sessions, all that. So when you have other people around who are going through the same thing, it's really a boost to the energy. And I love traveling for fights and stuff too. So riding down with the whole team, staying in the hotel room together, like all the celebrations after, like yeah, yeah, it definitely adds to the tight knit team that we have.
Does it factor to you or do you care? Would you rather go fight a guy in his hometown and shut everybody up at home, or would you rather be at home, fight a guy, and now the hometown crowd is here for you?
Honestly, they're both great. They're both great. I actually talked to Ale about this a lot. I love going to somebody's hometown and they announce me and it's real quiet. They announce them and then the crowd goes crazy. And then when you win, it's a cool feeling when you win and the crowd is silent. You know what I mean? So I'm a big fan of that feeling, to be honest.
For a guy and I'm not meaning this as you haven't been doing it very long, but you'll understand what I mean. For a guy in your stature who has been doing it for like
Mhm.
this long,
Yeah.
but in the local MMA scene, especially in the Pacific Northwest, like the
Mhm.
last name Wada,
Mhm.
that was this long. So when you
Right,
knew you
right.
were fighting him, what did it mean for you to be like, oh, I'm going in here and I'm fighting Ben Wada, and then I'm gonna kick Ben Wada's ass? No offense, Ben, but that's what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I didn't really, to be honest, like yeah, I'm up here in Canada, so we don't know too much about the scene. Like we're becoming a part of it, but I'm from the East Coast originally, so I don't know too much about the MMA scene. I don't know. I see that he's got a long record, and I guess he's been around for a while. A bunch of people know him, but I just watched his fights, and I take what I can from that. So I didn't really see any big like aura or like a local legend type of thing. I was just like, okay, this is the guy. This is how he fights. This is how we're gonna take him on.
Nice. You said you're from the East Coast and now you live West Coast, Vancouver. How'd you find your way to MMA and then decide, hey, I want to get in the cage and punch some people?
Well, I've been doing Muay Thai for a long time. Like I started with a little bit of everything when I was like 12 years old. So I was competing in jiu-jitsu, and then I had a chance to take a Muay Thai fight. And then my Muay Thai coach said, "You got to quit everything else, just do Muay Thai." So then I was doing that. I had my first Muay Thai fight when I was like 15. And I did that for around like 10 years, something like that. And then I came to Vancouver, still doing Muay Thai out here. And then when I came to Diaz, that's actually when they switched me over to MMA. They saw I had like some jujitsu experience, and they were like, "Do you want to try MMA?" And then I went with the team, and I got my ass beat. And I was like, "Well, fuck that, you know, like I don't want people running around who can kick my ass, so I better learn this shit too." So yeah, and
Nice.
then never looked back since then.
So I'm gonna assume in camp you watch tape.
Hmm.
I'm sure you watched Sean's last fight. I think we
Hmm.
could agree that dude, like yourself, is fucking bananas. He
He's
throws shit
wild.
out
He's
of
wild.
nowhere. His jujitsu's nuts. Like,
Hmm.
is this going to be like all fights going into him? You have to look at it as like, oh, this is a big deal. But
Yeah.
going against a guy who, like yourself, like I've seen you throw things, and I'm like, wait, wasn't his hand just over here? Like, what happened? John does the same thing. So going into fight, like, are you excited for it? Or like these are two young upcoming guys who are on the
Mhm.
same level of craziness, and they don't mind eating one to give one. So are you excited to be going against him?
I am. Yeah, it's gonna be a cool challenge, you know. Like he's definitely a very, very good grappler. He's very wild on the feet, which is dangerous. So it's a good opportunity for me to try to again like keep it composed. And I think the biggest chance that he has is if we get into a real scrap. So if I can do my thing, stay measured, stay long, just touch him up, I think we should
Nice,
be in for a
nice.
good night. But you know, anything can happen. If we get in a scrap, we get in a scrap. He's tough
It's
on
a fight,
himself,
right?
so
Anything
we always
happens.
got that to lean back on, you know?
Yeah. So training MMA and stuff like that. Did you see the UFC, or were you already training and saw the
Mhm.
UFC? Who do you like watching UFC either back then, maybe they're not around, or now?
Mhm. Well, when I started, like, so I was actually before I even joined a gym or anything, I was just like me and my friends would just put gloves on and fight in my backyard. That's kind of how I got my start. So to getting ready for like those fights, I was like, oh, I was aware of the UFC, but I wasn't really like a fan or anything. But I was like, okay, I'll start watching these guys just to kind of pick up on what they're doing so I can beat up my friends. So then the guys that I was watching were like GSP, Anderson Silva, and John Jones. Those were like the big three when I first started watching, you know.
Nice.
So those are who I like to watch. I liked Carlos Condit a lot back in the day. He was one of my
Yes,
favorites. Yeah, he
yes.
was fucking sick.
Underrated. His name does not
Hundred
come up.
percent, 100%. Yeah, I think he's overlooked a lot. He almost finished GSP with that head
Oh,
kick.
yeah.
That was crazy.
And
That
that was when it was like it was GSP. The
yeah.
GSP
He was
came
the
in like
fucking
that.
guy.
That had
He was
some
the
weight
guy.
behind it when that fight happened.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I'm gonna
yeah, I
assume
love.
fight camp training, all that went well. When you're in fight camp and you're in training, do you have a cheat meal like at the end of the week or maybe in the morning that you look forward to? Like, what's the thing where you're like,
um,
okay, I can eat this today?
like when I'm in camp, not too much because like I'm a pretty tall guy, so I try to tone it down a lot, like 4 weeks out. If I can have like a little chocolate chip cookie here and there, that brings me a lot of joy. When the fight's over, like Korean fried chicken, that's my go-to. That's
Nice.
that's what
But
I always
what's
go
the
to.
difference between American fried chicken and Korean fried chicken?
Korean fried chicken, like the breading is different. I don't know. It's a little bit crispier on the outside.
Oh,
They
that's
have a
fair.
lot of different sauces. It's called a yum sauce. It's like a sweet and spicy. And then they also have like sweet, spicy garlic and like shit like that. Just a lot of different flavors on it, you know? That's my good.
Look,
I recommend it. You should try it. You should try it.
I do like the sauces when I go places. I just
Uh-huh.
don't know. And maybe I've just never noticed. I'm sure I've had Korean fried chicken in a place. I just don't think I
Mhm.
noticed because growing
Fair.
up here, I'm used to like shitty KFC and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love
That's where it's
KFC
like,
too, man.
huh.
I'll take that.
Oh yeah, I would totally take it. But if I can go to a better like Korean place that knows what they're doing, well then I'm going there.
Yeah. Try it out. Try it out. I recommend.
All right. When you were a little kid, what
Mhm.
movie was constantly on play? You're watching it as soon as it's over, you're playing it again. Maybe it's on the background. Like what movie was it for you when you were a kid?
I love Jurassic Park. I was a big dinosaur kid when I was young. I love like animals and dinosaurs. So yeah, definitely Jurassic Park or the second one, The Lost World. That was a big one for me.
Another underrated thing. No one brings
Super
that up. It's either
underrated.
the original Jurassic Park or now all the remakes they're doing. But it's like, wait
Oh,
a
the
minute,
second one was great, man.
that was
Second one was
great.
great. I loved it.
Fight camp or training camp went well and weights on point
Mhm.
and all that.
Yeah, all good, all good. Yeah, it's like they offered me the fight a week after my last fight against Ben. And I was kind of just like, yeah, I'm already in shape. I didn't take much damage. it'd be great to get a third fight in by the end of the year, and then yeah, so I accepted, and yeah, so we're good.
I don't know, like, I know you're busy and stuff. I'm sure your coaches know, you may not. So our main event is for the heavyweight title. You guys are the co-main event. And I don't want to anger anybody, but as the guy that gets to sit Cade's side and watch,
Mhm.
I am so excited for this co-main event. I'm telling you, like
Hell
when
yeah,
I
brother.
saw it, I was like, wait, what? Like I got the text. I sent it to Joe when he told me, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you know how good this is gonna be. And he was like, yeah, I know, Robbie. And I was like, oh my God. So just from me to you, I
Hell
always like watching you fight. And so then when I saw this
hell yeah,
as our
brother.
co-main event, I was like, hey man, even if something goes wrong, I don't want anything to MMA gods. Let our main event happen. Cool.
Of course.
Things happen. Let's say that doesn't. Okay, cool. Our co-main goes right to main event, and it'll be set still just as good as card. Like it's
Yeah.
going to be so fun to see you that night and watch you fight, sir.
Hell yeah. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Means a lot. Means a lot. Really does.
All right, so I'll see you when we get up there.
Sounds good, brother.
Have
Nice
a nice day,
talking to
sir.
you.
Once again, the show is presented by Combat Games MMA.